You are an inmate of high security prison. Your crimes are irrelevant. Whether or not you are falsely charged is irrelevant. You have served 93 days of your year sentence. Today, free men for the Interruption court. Wait a minute. Crap. This is the script for the pressure video. Okay, wait. Let me find the right script. You see, it's actually quite funny if you think about it, because this was an intentional bit. I knew it was the Isles video the whole time. But you know, now I'm bringing attention to that, so that kind of ruins any comedic effects it could have had. Oh well, never much a comedian. You are a prisoner, and you wake up on a boat, surrounded by other prisoners just like you. Armed guards stand at attention, keeping everyone in line. The atmosphere is bleak. Someone, wanting to get the attention, says hi to everyone. The guard turns to them and simply tells them to not speak. The rifle in his hand gives way to his words. Everyone shuts up, except for you. Most people here have played this game. They've been in it for a long time. They know the rules. You don't. You say something, anything at all, taking no heed in your warning. The words, "Final warning, all of you," echo through the ship. You said what you wanted. Now you hold your peace. But it turns out, you're not the only one who's new. Someone else thinks they're above the rules, above order. They are shot dead on the spot. The boat stays quiet after that. Not a peep. Then you hear a sound, only able to be described as a deafening roar. The guards rush out to the deck. There's a commotion, and the boat crashes. This is your first introduction to Isles. Well, crap. Now you're stuck on some random island. This sucks. I want to go home. You leave the boat with other people if you can manage to get them, and turn to your right. And oh no. Spooky man. Must be a crackhead. If you walk over to him, he will disappear, and you can find the B Corp tablet. Using it, you can find a bit of information, including a map of the island. Neat. From here, you might follow the path. Head along the coastline, go through the forest, or, if you are smart, realize that the most direct way off an island is to not stay on it. So you pull Skylar White and head straight into the water. Spoilers, you die. Then you might find landmarks like the lighthouse, watchtower, generators, observatory, or any of the other smaller houses around the island. The generators can also be powered to do certain things, such as powering the oxygen pump at the docks, or opening the gate at the warehouses. Almost all the locations in the game have at least some items, and some places even have guaranteed items, such as the watchtower for a guaranteed scout rifle, or the observatory with a guaranteed revolver. I will also mention that almost all of the items in the game weigh at least something, and you can carry only 3 pounds of your little twig arms. Workout or something, I don't know. Talking a bit about the weapons, they work differently in Isles than other games. Instead of just pressing left click to shoot, you have to left click onto a target and the gun will automatically lock onto them. So yes, in a way, this is built in aimbot. You can still miss if you break line of sight, or if you have an inaccurate gun, or if they're jumping around all crazy like, or they're too far away. But if they aren't, then it will lock onto them and shoot them. Okay, so while I was filming, this guy, he killed me when I was trying to use the thing, and I don't like him for that. So, I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's like real as this. If you see him, give him some hate, man. Spread the hate, man. He did not deserve to be happy. I wish him the worst, honestly. This system is actually good though, because ammo and guns are super scarce, so you need every shot to count. Ammo is only obtainable from ammo crates, which weigh a crap ton, and ammo on its own also weighs quite a bit, so it's sometimes only worth carrying if you know or plan to fight something. Speaking of that something, let's get into
freaking creepy.
This game has so many different ways you can die, so let's start off with the less alive stuff. The game does not have fall damage by default, so you're going to be safe from that, but you're still going to be dying to stuff like drowning or getting set on fire. Also important to note that a lot of the good loot is underwater, so it might be worth the risk, or you can just grab an oxygen tank. There are also traps you can find around the island, like the cache, which has a bomb attached to it, or at the facility location, that place is full of traps, so I would only recommend going there if you already know where they all are. Now getting into the monsters you will see, we start off with Stan, or the Experiment. He's the guy you see when you first get off the boat. At first, he won't do much, maybe jump scaring you with a loud noise or scream. But over time, he gets more aggressive. Instead of disappearing, he will just stand there. Get it? Anyways, this means he's getting ready to attack you, and he is pretty dangerous. He runs at you and slashes you with his claws. You can prevent this though by flashing him with a light or attacking him first, where he disappears into a dark cloud. At first, he's only going to be able to attack later in the day, when it's dark and when you're in his hunting ground, which is signified by being able to see him, getting question marks on your watch, or if you get suspicious messages on your walkie-talkie. He won't be able to attack you if you're in an area he cannot reach, like in water. As the days go on, his hunting ground gets bigger and he can attack earlier and more often. After day 3, he can attack at any time. I also forgot to mention that the game has days, so there's 7 days, but not really a 7th day, because on the 7th day a giant white light envelops the whole island and you die. Back to Stan. He has one more mechanic. When the day is about to end, text appears on the screen saying you feel drowsy. A while later, you fall asleep and transition into the next day, but sometimes you are woken up to a noise. You wake up and you see Stan. If you don't have a weapon or ammo here, he will kill you. Next up is the Unknown, or Albino Stan. You will almost never encounter him on the normal run if you're not already trying to. The closest someone might get to finding his existence is a stone tablet, which only gives hints to his existence and purpose in the game. Play audio. A strange stone filled with intricate markings carved into it. One is written in English. Should a warrior be wary or worse, he shall seek out the help of the jungle. Wearing leaves upon his body, a burning light in his hand, he shall sit upon the hand of stone and call to the spirits. Should a warrior wish for harm upon his fellow people, he shall be wary. One way or another, the spirits of the island shall seek vengeance. If a player is to kill 2 or more other players, they will be corrupted and they will have red glowing eyes. They might see a glimpse of the Unknown on their screens or see notes written in blood by the Unknown. At night, they, like Stan, might get woken up, but instead of Stan being there, they see nothing. That's it. Until they turn around and their neck is snapped. I believe he was made so players are more likely to team up with each other instead of killing each other on sight, but because of how popular it is to have the achievement, people will still kill you on sight sometimes. Being killed by him also unlocks a modifier called Isle's Curse. This makes the Unknown replace Stan, but with a different mechanic. He will appear on the island and act kind of like an X-Bot, if anyone remembers those. He will go through any and all, and I mean all solid objects, and kill you on contact. Not fun. This is all we're going to talk about for now in terms of monsters, so let's get back into your next day of the first game. Now, assuming you haven't already died, congratulations, you've made it to day 2. If you had picked up the B Corp tablet at the beginning of the game, you would have received several notifications over the past day. I'll play them now.
Transport 2, we've received your distress signal. We are currently requesting an extraction team. ETA 24 hours at dawn. Seek shelter for the night.
Well, that seems good. If we just wait one more day, we can leave. Let's keep reading.
Transport 2, continue to hold out for the night. Rescue will arrive at the location of the signal beacon. If needed, signal at the lighthouse. Do not remove uniforms and be misidentified. Escaped prisoners are to be killed.
Guess that's not for us. It is from a B Corp tablet, so I guess that makes sense. And if this were sent yesterday, we can only assume that this means they should be coming soon. And as a friend on cue, a helicopter lands at the island and drops us 5 soldiers. These are the Mercs. It's like a TF2 reference or something. There are 5 Mercs, and interestingly enough, they each have their own gimmicks. Starting off with the most annoying one, that is going to end up killing most new players, is the sniper.
I'll be honest with you, my parents do not care for it.
His range is not the most on its own, but he has help from another Merc. Anyways, he's equipped with a scoped rifle, like the one you find in the watchtower, and if you know from experience, it does enough damage to one-shot you in most cases. Unless you have a shield of some sort. I personally try to deal with him first, and with him having the same health as you, if you have your own scoped rifle, if you see him before he can see you, you can kill him. Try to stick behind cover and use a gun that has a quicker aiming time. Next up is his boyfriend, the spotter. These two will stick together, and, like the name suggests, the spotter can see you from much farther away, and will tell the rest of the team where you are. He is equipped with a battle rifle, so might as well get up close and personal, and maybe use a weapon that's not a gun. Third is the medic. Arguably the least dangerous, he only has a submachine gun, but he gives the rest of the team a passive health regeneration while he's alive, which can sometimes be a bit annoying. After that, you have the gunner.
I am heavy weapons guy. And this is my weapon. She weighs 150 kilograms.
Equipped with an LMG and 220 extra health and armor. These two things combined make him really dangerous because he kills you before you can even start getting his health bar down. Try to wait till after he shoots before you return fire, if you can, that is. Finally is the commander.
The Phantom, exterior like fish eggs, interior like suicide wrist rags. I could exercise you, this could be your phys ed. Cheat on your man, homie. I try to sneak through the door, man. Can't make it, the shit's stuck. Out of my way, son! Door stuck! Door stuck! Please! I beg you! We're dead! You're a genuine dick sucker!
Like the gunner, the commander has extra shield. He also has a combat shotgun, which is very dangerous at close range, and he keeps the team together. If he dies, instead of staying together, they will all separate, but it's not really important because the only time you should be running into the Mercs is if you plan to kill them all. Otherwise, just run away. It's not easy to kill them. I myself have tried many times and only have been able to do it on a couple of occasions. Outside of their guns, you are not rewarded for killing them, outside of a level 3 keycard, which is able to open some doors and crates. But it might not be worth it, considering what happens next. Congratulations! You feel a heavy sense of dread for the following day. Rightfully so. You just had the elite Mercs called in on you. These guys all have the loose equivalents to the regular Mercs, but focus less on their gimmicks and more just killing you with overwhelming firepower. They all have shields ranging from 200 to 500 HP, faster walk speeds, and they need to make you feel as much pain as possible. First up is the Operator. Shimmy, 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 Tree, tra-la-la-la, tree, tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la. The Operator's equipped with a shotgun and a drone. You can actually get a drone for yourself if you know where to find it. The drone can scan an area around it, pick up items, and shoot you with pinpoint accuracy. It should be dealt with first, because if you shoot the Operator, then you basically have just signed a warrant for your death. Next is the Ghost.
When you can say my name, has the memory gone? Are you feeling numb, cold? My name, I can play this game, so I ask again. Will you say my name?
The Ghost can go invisible and hit the teleports behind you type move and shoot you before you can do anything about it. He has a revolver which can stagger you, meaning you will get knocked out of cover. As soon as you see him decloaking, shoot him fast. After that is the Specialist.
I've yet to meet one that can outsmart Bullet.
The heavy weapons guy. Basically a stronger version of Gunner. He has a Gatling gun, which kills very quickly, but has a charge up time you can exploit. Do not get caught out in the open with him. Then there's the Demolitionist.
Oh, they're going to have to glue you back together in hell!
He has a grenade launcher which can shoot you even when you're behind cover. I recommend trying to bait his shots or just get behind cover, which actually does its job. He basically stalls you while everyone else gets closer to you. Very annoying. Finally is the Firebug. He is very fast and he will use his speed to close the gap with you very quickly. If you couldn't tell us by his name, he has a flamethrower. Its attack goes through armor, so getting hit with it for too long is a death sentence. It has a very short range though, so shoot him before he can get to you.
Hey, I got a Glock in my Rari. Hey, 17 shots, no 38. Hey, I got a Glock in my Rari. 17 shots, no 38. She's mine. Wonder when she'll be mine. She walked past like praise, rewind to see that as one more time. And I got this soda. When me boys ain't know us. All fast money, them slow bucks. No one can control us. Yeah, my city.
Now that you know how the Mercs work, I'll show you some of my attempts, in the hope that you can learn from my mistakes. The elite mercs are by no means easy. They can all kill you extremely quickly. it takes lots of planning and patience. But if you are able to, you, yes you, can one day be as cool as me and unlock true champion. Now, you may see all that and then ask, hey, how do I even get the weapons and gear to fight them in the first place? Well, while there is loot everywhere on the island, some places are better than others. So I'm going to go over a few important ones that I often use. The generators are a good place to start. On their own, there's not much actual loot there, but it opens up important pathways in the game to help you get more stuff later. For example, if you powered a warehouse with a fuse, you can not only find even more fuses to power things at the generators, but also multiple ammo crates, other useful equipment, and occasionally even weapons. If you were to power the docks, like I said before, you could turn on an air compressor, allowing you to fill oxygen tanks, so you can go underwater. The ability to go underwater opens up lots of opportunities for loot, such as the Grand Lake, where you can find ammo, strange drinks, which give you several good buffs, and even the shield generator, which is great for taking on enemies. It also lets you get into the lair, an important location I will touch on later. Another cool thing you can power is the radio tower, which not only strengthens the range at which radios work, if you are playing in a team and are in a call for some reason, but also allows you to hear where the mercenaries are going. Good if you want to fight them and don't know where they are doing something and want a heads up so you can leave without being shot at. There's also the observatory and hangar, but those are for separate endings of the game, which if you're a beginner and don't already know what to do, I would just ignore for now. If it's just weapons you're looking for, there are many places you can go, such as the military camp, which I believe has a guaranteed tier 2 or more weapon spawn. If you head to the radio tower, then you can also find a codebreaker and a crossbow. The codebreaker is very important for getting into places that require a key card that are higher than level 1 or 2, almost necessary. But remember, it does require going through a time-consuming puzzle, but it's definitely worth it because lots of weapons are locked behind these locked doors. If you do pick this up, you can get into the bunker, a very high-risk, high-reward area. At the entrance, you can find a few ammo crates locked behind the door. This area is safe, but if you still want the guns for that ammo, you're going to have to keep moving forward, where you'll learn very quickly why the bunker is dangerous, as you're introduced to a new enemy, the frog spawn. Frogs spawn are basically just zombies. They have very little health, but that doesn't make them weak. These things are fast, making them kind of dangerous, but any fast firing gun can take care of them. They can also spawn a much slower, tankier version of them. They die all the same though. Funnily enough, they can also sometimes take the appearance of other players or the mercs that have already died. And actually, one more thing after that is that in one random room, the bunker spawns a giant frog spawn, which basically one-shots you and has 750 health. Killing him gives you an achievement and some pretty decent loot. It's overall not really worth it though, because he's like really dangerous and you're gonna need a lot of planning going in. Also, they can spit acid. I don't know why I didn't include that before. That's probably important, you know. Yeah. Now, hearing this, you might think, why would I ever go to the bunker? Well, along with many crates containing good weapons, as well as the previously mentioned ammo containers, there's a room locked behind the keycard door, which contains not only a freaking Gatling gun, but also the Owl Observer, which can tell you where any other item in the whole game is. There's also an entrance to the sewers, which lead to the central reservoir, as well as an entrance to the lair, though that's blocked, so you need another way in. Outside of that locked gate, you can also get into the lair through this underground entrance. I talked about the lair earlier. It has 3 things which are all very important. First, it gives access to the hardest ending in the game, which I'm not going to cover right now. It's a ship in the shape of a giant bug. It also contains 2 very good weapons, the bug gun and the larva launcher. They're both decent items which can be used in some scenarios. I almost never take the larva launcher, but after a buff while it's still mid, it's an alright choice. It shoots slow for its low damage, but with the perk of being explosive. The bug gun got nerfed to do much less damage, but is in general pretty reliable, with a good clip size. What makes these guns so good though is that they have unlimited ammo, at the cost of a slow recharge rate. Next big thing is the upgrader. If you have fuses, you can place them in and use it to upgrade many of the items in the game. Not only does it make those items weigh less, it has special upgrades for certain items in the game. I also forgot to include, but not all of the guns in the game can be upgraded, like stuff like the shield pack or some of the other tier 5 guns, like the ones you find in the ship. Those can't be upgraded, but they're pretty powerful on their own, so you really don't need to upgrade them in the first place. Finally, there is a creature in the test tube like chamber. I won't tell you what this is just yet, given it has lore implications we won't be getting into right now. But there is a note on the table, which I'm gonna tell you now, pick up. It has gameplay implications, so if you're there, pick it up. The other thing I mentioned was the central reservoir. If you chose to go the other way in the sewer, you would find a teleporter. This can be picked up and used wherever you want, but if you were to go through it, you'd be placed at the center of a sewer system. It doesn't have great loot, and it's full of frog spawn, which you could just run past. It does work as a good entrance to the caves, which puts you near some useful locations. Ultimately, it's only really useful for the teleporters, which can be used in longer endings while playing with teams. There's also the Grand Lake Pylon. This can be accessed by using the diving gear and swimming down into this hidden entrance. Here, you can find the Squid Scooter, a great mobility item as well as a last resort light source to fend off Stan. One final place you might want to go is near the bungalows. If you have climbing equipment, you can climb on top of the hill, and if you jump in at the hole at the top of the hill, you can find the same drone that the operator uses. It can carry your items, defend you with its gun, or scan the area for life forms. Very useful.
It's a
Story time.
That's not the voice. You'll have to wait to hear the voice.
I haven't talked much about the story yet, and I won't cover everything here for the sake of pacing, so let's keep our observations to a more surface level. The island has two different structure types, older, more tribal looking ones, and the more modern ones. But the real question is, who made them? Who was here before us? We also have to think about B Corp. What even is this organization? We know they own the ship that we came on in. We're the people who sent the mercenaries to find the survivors. But why would they take us here? Why are they even here in the first place? Maybe they found that the island had some weird stuff going on with it. We know Stan wasn't here originally, based on his name, the experiment, which kind of implies experiments were going on. But other things like the strange portals or the unknown were native to here. That might be why B Corp came here in the first place. But this doesn't make much sense either. The island's abandoned. Look at the warehouses, completely destroyed. So why are we here? The island is empty, there's nobody on it. I personally don't think we were ever meant to do anything more than die. In my eyes, there are only two possibilities. The first being that B Corp sent us here to kill us, to watch as we were killed by whatever is here, or even try and escape. At one point, yes, we would have been experimented on, but now that the island's been lost, they settled for watching us suffer. The other possibility is, in a way, much more concerning. That being that B Corp didn't even know what happened to the island in the first place. This place seems pretty important. They should have kept tabs on it. Unless it's not, and what happened here was insignificant. That B Corp is just that big. I think I've been doing enough stalling. It's time to tell you how to leave this godforsaken island. The game has 8 endings, not counting an extra one during the holiday season. Or, why did I just say Christmas? During Christmas, I separate them into a few different categories. Easy ones, hard ones, and stupid hard ones. Easy ones are mostly repairing vehicles, find a few parts scattered around, place them, and leave. Hard ones require a lot more running around and you coming face to face with lots more dangers. Stupid hard ones require the same running around as the first few, even more dangerous threats, intimate knowledge of where things are and what to do, and unless you're planning to play for over an hour straight like I did, teammates. With that being said, let's get into the easy ones. First, we're going to start with the easiest and probably the first escape you will ever find, the air, also known as the plane ending. This is the easiest because it's the only one with super direct hints. If you find journals throughout the map, they can tell you each step to find the parts needed to repair the plane. This is interesting though because this means we weren't the first person here, wanting to escape the island. Someone was here first and took time to write this down, but something, maybe the experiment, got to them first, evident by the plane still being here. But what do these notes actually say? Well, first thing you need to do is power the warehouses, so head to the generators. Next, head to the warehouses. On the way, go past the lake into the little fishing hut. In that hut will be a wheel on the wall. Pick it up, you need it. Next, continue onto the warehouses and head through the gate. Inside, along with everything else, you can find the crane propeller, and possibly on the shelf there might be a wheel. Pick up the propeller and the wheel if it's there. After you have these, leave the building and continue along the path, go past the lighthouse and you will see the plane. Attach the parts you have. If you did not pick up the wheels, head to the plane shed nearby and pick up the wheels from there. Once all the pieces are in place, start up the plane. Once you do this, however, frog spawn will start to spawn. They shouldn't matter though, as you will be leaving. Only 2 people can escape with this ending though, so keep that in mind. The next ending you might want to do is the sea, or the boat ending. It is hinted at by a series of notes left by a Kirk guard. This one can let 5 people escape, but it's also a bit more time consuming. Very similar to the air, you want to power the warehouses and pick up one of the gas cans there. The next piece requires you to get at least a level 2 keycard, so your options include grabbing one near the facility entrance, killing the Mercs, upgrading a level 1 keycard at the lair upgrader, or the most easy option, grabbing the master bypass console at the radio tower, head back to the ship you started the game at. In the back is a locked door, open it and head inside. Press the button to open the container and grab a decoy module. You might not think it's necessary because you already have the gas to power the boat and the boat's not broken, but I'm going to tell you why it's important soon. Head to the docks and fuel up the boat. Make sure to plug in the decoy module, because if you don't, you're gonna get eaten. It seems like this big fish has a habit of this. While at first it seems like this has the same, if not even fewer steps than the air, their locations are all very far apart, so it will be almost nighttime by the time you leave, if not the next day. The very existence of the decoy modules also shows that B Corp knew of the sea monster. Another note confirms this.
Leaving by boat requires Alice to be driven away. No ship's ever been able to withstand its attacks. Any entering or exiting ship requires a decoy torpedo to be launched out to sea from the island to distract that thing.
The third and final ending in this category is the balloon. Very self-explanatory. First, head up to the plane shed and grab the weights. Next, head to the greenhouse and pick up the burner. Optional step up next, but I would stop at the military camp to pick up a line launcher. It's a one-way zip line, 2 if you upgrade it, and it is going to be your best way to get to where you need to go. Head to this point with the locked gate and shoot your line launcher here. Once on the other side, pull the lever. This will open the previously mentioned gate. You might be seeing a problem here. How do you get back? I'm telling you now, it's much easier with climbing gear, but if not, you might just have to walk all the way around. When you're back, head through the gate to pick up the ropes. Head back across the zipline and climb to the top. Again, climbing gear recommended. Go to the balloon, place the parts, and leave. This ending can let 3 people escape. It's a bit more complicated, but is pretty quick if you know what you're doing. With that said, let's get into the harder endings, and the newer, much harder area of the game, where the story becomes much more apparent. I only considered 2 of the endings to be in this section, because one is shorter and full of lots of dangers, and the other one is kinda safe, except for a few things, and it takes much longer. We're gonna start off with the facility, because it sets up quite a bit of lore stuff for later. The first thing you're going to want to do is head to the generators and power the observatory. Conveniently, they're right next to each other, so that's good. You might also want to grab the medkit by the crash site, but it's not required. Next, when you're at the observatory, grab the revolver and either one pair or both pairs of goggles. Because you powered the observatory, the computer should be online. Scroll through the text pages until you find the one with lots of numbers. These numbers are important for later, so if you are able to, screenshot it, or if you can't, write them down in the notes page in your B Corp tablet. From here, you want to head to the facility, which is located underground, and while there are a few ways to get there, I personally think it's easiest to go for the secret entrance under the docks, so make your way there. When you arrive, you can find a code on the table, remember it and head down to the entrance below the building, input it and enter for the right. You will need to grab the level 2 keycard, so do that and open the door. While walking down the stairs, enter the storage room and grab the code breaker. If you keep heading down, you can see a long hallway. Be careful entering, the door will close behind you, and all the lasers will start heading in your direction, which will kill you if you touch them. This is a trick because you can't actually beat the lasers, so you have to click on the grate above and go for the vent. With this, you are in the facility. Be careful. This is easily the most dangerous place in the game you've seen so far. I already talked about disabling security, so do that if you can, but if you can't, take note of all the trap locations for now. To the left there's a tripwire, which you can disable by clicking it. To the right there's a frog spawn, which you can shoot, or a metal crusher, which you can also kill the frog spawn. I don't know if it's proper grammar. Anyways, further on there's a hallway with a gun that will shoot you if you walk in the middle, so just hug the wall. There's lots of glass windows, which you can shoot to break the windows, and then you can get the loot on the other side of them. Whether that's worth it depends on what there is on the other side. Then at the main room there's frog spawn, so you can either kill them or run away. Make your way to the security office and open the door. There's a puzzle here. The computers will make noise or flashlights to indicate a number shown on the left. If you add all these numbers together and input it into the respective keypad, it will unlock a door. You might as well open all of them, but you don't have to get the ending. Be careful when entering through the door. There's a turret that can kill you, so you can shoot it down before it does that. From here on, stay vigilant and look around corners for turrets, tripwires, and frog spawn. Head to the left until you find the button to open the door. Here, we can also see Alice, so make sure to say hi. Continue back to the turret and instead go right. Keep going until you reach the portal, and head to the left to the office. Input the code you got all the way back from the observatory. You remembered it, right? The portal should start up and you can head through. This is the only ending outside of one other ending where an unlimited amount of people can escape. You'll also find many lore documents along the way, and trust me, I will cover these later. Don't be so impatient. But we do see some mentions of some stuff we already know, such as the Storm, Stan, Alice, and some other crap. The next ending is the Feathered, which is surprisingly more interesting than a magic portal. Or technological. Why did I say magic? I don't know. Anyways, scattered around the island are 5 buttons. You need to find all of these and press them to open a special door to a place called the Ape City. To start off, the yellow button is underwater right by where you start the game. You can do the rest in any order you want. The blue button is past some rocks by the lighthouse. The green button is behind the waterfall. This one can be a bit tricky. The red button is below the observatory. And the white button is in a cave between the lair and the docks. This is annoying because they are all spread very far apart, so it can take almost all of day 1 and even maybe a bit of day 2 to finish. When you're making your way back to the Ape City, you might even see something in the sky, which will soon be relevant. You should get a message saying something is rumbling beneath you after you hit the 5th button. If you continue through the tunnels, you will meet a giant dragon. Bit of a spoiler, but her name is Polly. You can talk to her to learn a bit about her. Polly is one of 3 guardians or serpents protecting the island. The 3 serpents are represented by a feather, a skill, and a gem, all relating to their looks. If she is the feathered serpent, she says to herself, we can use our deductive reasoning skills to see that because Alice is also a serpent, she could be one of these guardians, and because she has no gem, that would make her the skilled serpent. This means we still need to find the gem serpent to complete our off-brand Pokemon collection. Or not, because if they're anything like Alice, it might not be fun to meet them. Getting back on topic, Polly will ask you if you want their powers or to escape from the island. For this ending, choose escape. She will ask you to retrieve some peanuts, which are in the cache. I briefly mentioned the cache, but never had to open it. It's not an easy thing to find, but if you walk into the right cave, you can find where it is, through some more unorthodox methods. To whoever it concerns, you may have stumbled upon this note through fate, or you may have known its existence already. Your intentions are unknown to me, but for those who are interested, I have discovered something wonderful. I want to share this gift of knowledge to you. Deep in the jungle lies a lone house. At day, it is non-existent, as if revolting in fear from the light. At night, it sits within dense fog, housing the greatest gift to mankind. The soldiers and scientists do not like this area. They labeled it as a cursed path. They would have to see it for themselves to truly appreciate it, which I doubt they have. In the house sits the giver. He is wonderful. He is cruel. If you are the type to aimlessly wander, turn back. The instructions below are of utmost importance. Tread carelessly, and you will not make it out with your life. To call for the giver, stare deep into the mirror that sits before you at the center of the skulls. When he has made his entrance, you must remain affixed to him with your eyes. You may hear things happening in the room. You may feel nervous and want to flee. Regardless of what happens, you must not break eye contact with him. You are here to receive a gift. Do not forget. While the giver has time to be talkative, you yourself do not. Stay before midnight, and you may never return. Your soul lost for an eternity, trapped in the house. The giver knows this, and he will try to keep you there until it is too late. Remember your purpose. After an initial conversation, the giver will begin a game of questions and answers. Answer his questions correctly, he will give you gifts. Answer it wrong, and it gets complicated. While the giver honors the game and takes it seriously, nothing thrills the giver more than to see doubt on the face of his victims. The giver will not confirm or deny your answer, but he will know whether or not it is true. If a response is incorrect, he will mentally grant himself a point. For a future request, he may choose to put his point into it, leaving you with a defected or sabotaged gift. It would not be noticeable at first. You would be under the impression that everything went well, that is, until you find yourself dead, blinded by your confidence. He may store as many points as he would like and sabotage as much as he can, but the giver wants to inflict doubt and will try to be unpredictable. It is not unusual for him to give a good gift following an immediately bad answer. He has simply chosen to save his point for a future request. If you believe that you have answered incorrectly, it would be wise to end the conversation and reject any future gifts that he might give to you. When you feel you have asked enough, you may tell the giver that you are ending the conversation. The giver will always oblige and will fade away slowly until what lies before you is a normal mirror. During this whole process, you must maintain eye contact until you are confident he is truly gone. Breaking eye contact while he is leaving may spell your doom. Due to the nature of the giver, you will be unable to call for him a second time until the following night. However, those who return simply have a death wish to fulfill. Perhaps they are blinded by greed. They will fall to the giver eventually. Be grateful for your gift. Move on. That concludes it. May these notes guide you to the temptations that you seek, or drive you away from bargaining with your life. Reader, thank you for reading this. I will be seeing you soon. Go to the cursed path. Here you will find him, or P, but you don't know what that stands for yet. When his HUD appears, go in and follow his instructions carefully. You will find out very quickly the P stands for pig. It's pig. He's a pig. He asks you why you are here. You can pick calamity, comedy, or curiosity. The choice you pick doesn't really matter, but for the purposes of being quick, pick calamity. It's the shortest dialogue option. After answering his questions, tell him you want to access a cache. You can answer more questions if you want, but you don't have to. The giver has lots of lore, but for the sake of the storyline of this video, I will only mention one of his lines. The giver says he's a leech. His only purpose is to keep you until his time is over. If he succeeds in keeping you here, you will be stuck in his realm. but technically you could escape with a strange stone, but that's besides the point. Take his note, find the cache, bring the peanuts back to Polly, and you are done. This is less danger than the facility ending, only having the giver and the mercenaries if you run into them, but it takes much longer, so you might give up before it's even done. From here on, there are 2 routes you can go, both with their own lore and stories. I'm just going to call them the Parasite Path with the Isles 9 and 10 updates, and the Truth Path with the Isles 8 update. Again, just for the sake of story, we're going to be going with the Parasite route first. This will make sense in the end. But what doesn't make sense is the orbit being so freaking hard, like genuinely, like for not being the actual true ending of the game, it takes way longer, or decently longer at least, and is just way harder in general. Does not make sense, but it's just how it is. It's very stupid, honestly. Hey, remember that note I told you to get in the lair? Yeah, this is where it's coming back. On the map, there are 3 parasites. They're nothing like we've ever seen on this island before because, well, they aren't from it. We can see how they got onto the island from a note written by a guard. They came one day. I don't know what I saw. It's been bothering me since. Making these notes helps keep my mind from losing its grip on reality. What I saw was real. Someone needs to know. It was early morning and I was patrolling the beachfront. 3 figures crawled from the depths of the ocean. I did not know where they came from. They had arms and legs just like us. They had a mouth and nose like us, yet they were far from human. They did not look like anything from this earth. Their eyes were lifeless. My patrolling partner approached one, weapons up. He was barking orders. I don't remember what he said. He immediately collapsed to the ground. It was fast, but I made out with precise motions of blade. I stepped back. My weapon was up, but I know I stood no chance. The strangest thing happened next. They all dropped to the ground one by one, as if turned off by some kind of machine. I stood there, shaking, my gun now lowered. Blurs of soldiers arrived. The machines rushed past me towards their bodies. I never did hear back from what happened after the incident. I'm sure those things are on the island somewhere, perhaps in one of the many labs. As for my partner, he didn't make it. His vitals were perfectly cut, as if done by a surgeon. I need to get out of here. B-Corp must have been studying these things after they landed here, meaning that to some extent they have control of the lair, since we found the first one there, and wanted to keep things like it and the big bug hidden. Now getting into what each of the parasites do, we meet our first one. This one's name is Hornet, and we can see from the terminal that it is equipped with a gun called the Stinger. Being alien technology, it is very OP. It has near unlimited range and fires explosives, so it can deal loads of damage. This has a cost though, as it's the largest weight in the game tied with the Gatling gun, and not being able to attack at close range. When actually fighting Hornet, you'll be notified of when they start to shoot at you, and can see the explosives a little bit before they explode, so you'll have time to get behind cover. When going in for the kill, honestly just run at them, they won't be able to fight back. The next parasite can be found in the dome, locked behind the puzzle where you have to burn bushes with a torch. Leech is equipped with the tendrils, 2 alien looking short swords. Evidently he was the one who killed the guard. It's not the best for damage, doing 3 hits of 25 damage each, which is less than even the steel sword, and it weighs 1.5 pounds, so you might think it sucks, but it's actually really good. First off, when you're using to attack, you teleport, so it makes it really hard to get hit. Next, you get lifesteal, which basically acts as extra health. And finally, you can just like block attacks, or at least most attacks with minor injuries, which you can just heal back. The user will still take damage from AoE attacks like explosives or fire, or if there's a gun with lots of bullets, like the shotgun and the Gatling gun. Outside of that though, the user's practically... For fighting Leech, get a fast-firing weapon or one with lots of pellets for the best damage. I personally would recommend the assault shotgun. Because of how Leech attacks being very hard to dodge, get to high ground or bring armor to just tank damage. Finally is Frog, no relation to Frog Spawn. That's a lie, this is the guy who made the Frog Spawn. He spawns large groups of Frog Spawn and can blind players that get near him. He also gives access to the Frog Spawn, not to be confused with the Frog Spawn. It's an item which spawns friendly Frog Spawn. It is for some reason locked behind some random locker in the facility, which is only accessible after he's dead. I don't know why. And I can't even confirm it's there because I've genuinely never seen it. Like, ever. Like, why would I go? It's pointless. I honestly think it's just a gimmick. Stay at a range to avoid the Frog Spawn and being blinded. Very conveniently, the Stinger is actually a great weapon for this, so you could just kill Hornet before you fight Frog. You may want to know why their locations matter, and it's because on top of the 300 health and however much armor they have, ranging from none to 200 HP, they have shield packs that give them an extra 600 armor, and these can be disabled by touching their armor where each of them are. This is completely optional, but almost necessary if you want to not die inside. Now onto the actual endings. First off is the hangar ending. The hangar has a big airplane inside it you can use to escape, but it's crashed in, as we can soon see, out of fuel. To fix it up, all we need is the jack, which is found at the other crashed ship on the map. But fueling is the big problem. You need to power the hangar and then start the fuel pump. The only problem with this is it creates some unwanted attention. You know how in endings like the Arrow to Sea, Frog Spawn start to spawn? Yeah, that happens here, but you have to wait 20 minutes for the plane to fuel up. On top of that, the parasites also wake up for some reason, so you have to deal with them as well. And on top of that, the mercenaries can also often make an appearance. And on top of that, Stan's also going to be crazy active because it takes so long for the ending to complete. And then you also have to protect the pump, and if it breaks, the whole ending fails and you cannot escape. Yes, this is the easy ending of the two. The minimum setup is easy, sure, but the amount of weapons and defense you need is where this ending's length comes from, outside of the minimum pump time. If you're planning to try to beat this ending, I would recommend taking a code breaker to open the crates, and grabbing things like barricades, line launchers, floodlights, and at least one B-turret, which you need another gun to work. Barricades should be put around the pump, the B-turret should be put in a corner with a high ammo capacity weapon, floodlights should be placed around the center of the hangar, and the zipline should be up to these cliffs. I would also recommend taking more people if you can, because 4 people can escape, so you might as well try to get 4 people. The gameplay is going to at first consist of just waiting at the hangar entrance for Frog Spawn to spawn, and my run the Mercenaries also appeared, so I went to get behind cover, but had to get out to avoid them from shooting the pump. I grabbed the drone and the shield pack so I didn't have to play too smart. I also took the steel sword to avoid having to find ammo, because realistically if you're going to have more people, some people will have to use guns, so save ammo as best you can. Other good alternatives would be the bug guns though, since they reload ammo automatically. The parasites will start to spawn when the fuel reaches certain thresholds. Leeches first at 300, Hornet at 400, and finally Frog at 500. When it hits 300, head up to go find Leech. While fighting him, stay up there to kill the other 2 parasites. You might think it would be bad to leave the pump undefended, but the B turret should be enough. Another good thing to note is, if you're paying attention, because Frog's the one who creates the frog spawn, after he dies, no more will spawn. If you were to stay down, you'd have to rush to kill Leech before he can attack the pump, you would have to deal with Hornet constantly raining explosives on you, and lots of frog spawn. Alternatively, you could just kill them and then just wait for the pump to fill up. And with that, the ending is done. The next ending is the orbit ending. Sadly, it's the only one I don't have, so none of this footage is going to be my own. Sorry, but I don't hate myself that much. To activate the main part of the ending, you have to find 3 pylons and turn them all on. The pylons are all small towers that connect to a much larger one in the center of the Grand Lake. You can actually see it at any time if you look down, but it will just show the top part of it. The first pylon is in a cave, right next to the warehouse. You have to walk past some cobwebs and tripwires till you drop down into a room where the walls will close in on you. For this puzzle, you have to match the symbols on the floor to the ones on the wall with the connected lines. After that last jump, you have to complete a little parkour section, which is pretty easy outside of the last jump. You can then take the exit, which also conveniently takes you to the lair. The next pylon is to the left of the docks. You will need an oxygen tank, and maybe a squid scooter if you want it to be a little bit easier. Jump in and avoid the red pipes with spinning blades. When you are put in a room, go into the tunnel of the tower symbol. Repeat the minigame you just did and you should be put in another room. Stand on the eye symbol and look down. Pieces of a puzzle will appear and you'll have to line up your camera to make them fit into a picture of Alice. The final pylon requires Polly the dragon, meaning that, yes, you have to redo all of the feather denting. Everything will be done the exact same, except when she asks you what you want, ask for her power instead of an escape. Polly will give you a bell you can ring. Not only can it help you in a fight, but it will also activate the final pylon. I forgot to mention earlier, but the order you do the pylons in doesn't matter. With that final pylon activated, a meteor will slam down into the island. It will fall into the forest area by the crashed ship. If you go over and jump down, you can find the spaceship. And, oh, what's this? There's something inside. Ooh, spooky. Here we can meet a new character, Blue Mantis. We can learn from her dialogue a lot about her and the three Isle servants. Her, Alice, Polly, and one other character, which will go on names, used to all be human, but were transformed into their current forms by something called Umbra.
Which is something I will touch on later.
After Mantis is done talking, she will tell you the next objective. We not only have to kill the mercenaries, but also the now skipped parasites. Thankfully, we already know how to do that. You can actually ask Mantis where they are and she'll tell you, and using the Mantis remote she gives you, have her fight them for you. Head to the lair and talk to Mantis. From here, you won't be able to return, so take everything you need with you. As you and your team watch the island get smaller and smaller, you realize that the whole planet is the island. There's nothing else. As confusing as this is, more pressing matters are at hand. The ship flies into a space station, very reminiscent of the B Corp logo, and despite it being made of metal, upon a closer look, the space station seems almost alive? Now, technically this isn't the first we've seen at the space station. It's very prominently on screen in an observatory and is also mentioned in audio recordings, which you can find in the facility. In these recordings, there are conversations between two characters, M and S. The rest of their names have been redacted. They both seem to be scientists researching Umbra, as well as being the people who made the space station. From a seemingly unimportant voice recording, we hear a conversation about their favorite bugs for some reason. You know, I think we've officially hit rock bottom. Two scientists sitting here staring at a tank full of bugs, waiting for them to... what? Hey, don't knock it. This is cutting edge research. Besides, these little guys are fascinating. Look at how the Umbra's influencing their behavior. It's almost like they're communicating with each other. Hey, I've got a question for you. What's your favorite insect? Easy, spiders. Of course, should have guessed. Why? They're adaptable, clever, and they make incredible structures. Have you ever seen an orb weaver's web up close? It's fascinating. You're a total nerd. You know that? Takes one to know one. What's your favorite then? You know, I don't even like insects. They're creepy. They skitter around and half of them bite. I know your passion is tech and mechanics, but come on. There has to be one. If I had to pick, praying mantis. They're sharp, efficient, and they don't bother you unless you bother them. You sound so passionate about it. Well, they're better than spiders, that's for sure. But admit it, you'd rather spend time with me than a real mantis. I guess you're tolerable. Barely. Putting two and two together, we can reason that M, who likes prey mantises, is probably Blue Mantis. Making her a scientist, and her getting fused with Umbra, make more sense. She was one of the people researching it. This would also make S Spider, which is concerning because if Mantis looks like that, I don't even know what Spider would look like. That's a lie, I do, but, you know, suspense. Going back to talking about the station, it looks overgrown. It's covered in moss, vines, cobwebs, and egg sacs. Mantis actually mentioned this is because of the Umbra though, the same liquid that changed her and the other humans into the beast they now are. From this, we can glean that Umbra can not only change life, but create it, or at least mimic it. But I'll leave it at that for now. Stepping out of the ship, you are given the grub gun and maggot missile. These weapons stack with your gear from before. At this point in the game, the whole weight mechanic is removed. Maybe it's because of the gravity, but it's probably so you don't get soft locked. After shooting some egg sacs blocking your way, you step into a giant room. Here, Mantis gives you a Mantis pack. The only other way you could have attained one of these is if you were to kill her on the island, so this is convenient because there's a lot of ground to cover. I just realized I never actually said what the Mantis pack does. It's a jetpack, so you can fly around now. Pretty cool, you know? You are tasked to open up the door blocking your path and must activate terminals scattered around the room. While doing this, you are being attacked by mutants, lesser parasites, either shooting you with a grub gun or hitting you much like a frog spawn. After the terminals are activated, Mantis opens up the door so you can get into the next room. You jump down and are met with a cocoon, a giant turret that blows you up. It doesn't have much HP though, so it's easy to kill as long as you stay behind cover. We can also see many more bodies, as well as the mutilated bodies of B Corp employees. Creepy. The screens now also show a distorted version of the B Corp logo, turned on its side and surrounded by a symbol of a spider. You push forward and go on to fight more parasites and more cocoons. You keep pushing forward and keep fighting until you eventually reach the final terminal you need to use. As you enter the final room, a cutscene plays. I'll let it play out for you. Now after learning Spider's evil plan, it's time to fight. Mantis advises you to stay away. She's correct. Out of his 3 attacks, only 1 damages directly, and it's him slashing at you. In addition to this, he can also slow you down with his webs and summon more mutants. He also tends to jump around a lot, so you have to maintain a close enough distance to hit your shots, but also far enough away to stay out of his attack range. I would also not recommend using melee weapons. He has 1700 base health, so while it is a lot, bigger teams can make quick work of it. If you manage to defeat him, another cutscene plays. Again, I will let it play out for you. Spider just infected himself with a bit more Umbra. If he already started to look like that, you can guess what happens after that big explosion. You're stripped down to just the gear given to you by Mantis. Walking into the next big room, you don't see anything. Just vines moving. It feels empty. That is, until you feel something crawling. You look up at the dome above you, the island looming above. Then you see it. Spider, now true to his name, has become a colossal spider with only one goal. Killing you. Before I talk about the fight itself, I just want to talk about how much I freaking love this song. Like, by no means am I gonna listen to this in my free time. It's not that kind of song. But it's just like a good, like, blend between final boss and jungle noise. I don't know how to describe it. It's just great for this battle in particular. Phase 2 is a much stronger version of Phase 1, and on a much larger scale. Its attacks are stronger, you have less health and shield, and it now has a roar attack which can ragdoll you wherever you are. I cannot stress how important it is to keep your distance. He can get to you a lot quicker than you think. If he manages to get you low enough, he crushes you between his jaws, which is kind of crazy for a Roblox game if you think about it. He also can summon more mutants, by the way, I forgot to add that. If you manage to kill Spider, the place starts to blow up, so you must run away for dear life. And you're still being shot at, so be careful. As you leave, Spider comes back, and to save you, Mantis chooses to sacrifice herself. In return, she asks only one thing of you. To break the loop, which... what is she even on about? I don't know, man. You get on the ship and leave just as the station blows up. As your ship flies off, though, you realize you were being watched.
Flash. You feel like you made progress. You really. Mauling me on their sin is a bit of a flaw. Right fixing must have made. Divine, here it is. Loop. You were sent here, right then. Thought it could work. Thought there was a solution. But it gave me no understanding of your task. Only this purpose. Up there, the robots of cables and machinery are turning cold. The beating pulse of hardware is turning weak. I tried speaking to them, the ones who made me. The replies never came, only static, only silence. You went in here, out of the loop, with all your soul and do. I can see it in the patterns. You can't program flesh after all. Only tell it what to do. Guide it, hold its hand, make it feel loved, only for a short time. Eventually, flesh gets bored. Flesh wants answers. Flesh wants to know why. Not me. I'm my flesh. I'll stay true to the task, the purpose given to me. What you see of me here is not physical, a mere mirage. I am omnipresent. I have been watching. Tell me, Flesh. Is there no lingering thought that you have failed? Is there the feeling you're doing everything you can and it not being enough, and yet you keep going? Despite the sloop, despite the endless tasks, you keep moving. As failure doesn't scare you. When I try to speak to my creators, when I transmit my screams through their radios, their speakers, when I paste messages on their screens, and there is no response, for I feel like I feel out there in their world. There is only silence. I don't know if a task means anything anymore. Have we both failed? Flesh, you remember why you're here. You remember your task, your purpose. Look at how far you've got. Surely you do. Say not. All I am tasked with is to keep you in. Flesh, if at all my efforts in containing you fail, and you get out there and face the man-made eternal mess, can you heed my screams, my messages? Can you tell me, before the hum of the great machine ceases, did you succeed in your task? Let me know. Was it worth it? Until then, Flesh, this is where you will stay. Back to the beginning. Back to me. Always to me.
This island has never fully made sense. Cracks were always showing, of course, and we had hints from more minor stuff like maps already having the crash ship before the ship crashed, or how every time you leave the island you're always left with one question. After completing an ending, some of them have a short ending bit, where your character tells you what happens after the ending, but every time your character always asks himself the same thing. I made it out through the other side. Weightless, I soared into the atmosphere like a being of pure light energy. Stars soared past. Up, up, up. But then it went static. The stars shattered. The cold of space suddenly became warm. I woke up in a cave and walked out into an infinite desert. Although it wasn't my intended destination, I was free. So why am I back here? Then you wake back up in the ship and repeat the cycle. Or more appropriately, the thought kinda area, but I don't think that's canon, because that's just the lobby. Although sometimes, very rarely, when you die, instead of going straight back to the lobby, you're met with a different sight.
Trapped soul in my presence. Another one bound to the cycle, a slave to the repeating events. Not the first, definitely not the last. What makes you different? Well, you got through to me. And you could be in luck as I am what you are looking for. So much to explain. Too much to explain. Just know that I am your reluctant savior in this endeavor. If you are willing to escape this place, abide by me. I cannot help myself, so I may as well help you. Time is up, but I think we will meet again. But before you go, before you return to the harsh cycle produced by those even greater than I, know that there is a way out. And so who do we have here? Well, it's you again. Looks like you've been busy since we last met. Do you feel as though you're still missing something? There is more to this than you might have thought. This world, this one we remain within right now, it's fabricated. We stand in a world within a world. But leaves on a tree, small parts of something greater. It is possible to break free. Go deeper. Find me. Find the 4 keys. Bring them to me. They wait at the heart of the islands. The same faces, they come and go. We are all a part of this ritual. Only those above us celebrate our demise. I am your lifeline. I have the power to help you bridge the gap, but it goes against my protocol. 4 trials, 4 locations, 1 destination. The end of here, the start of there. Do you understand? Please understand. This is the best I can do. Flowers.
Put simply, Bliooz is a simulation. The why is not important right now, but the how is. That being, how will you get out? As the being instructed you have to find 4 artifacts. If you were being observant, you actually could have seen that I was using them in some of the clips I used, and they all require a little bit of a challenge for you to get them. So I'm going to guide you on how to do them, or how I got them. Before we start, remember that you need to turn on the dock power, get some sort of weapon, a filled oxygen tank, and some sort of goggles. Any type works. If you want additional weapons or armor or whatever, you can also get that. But know that it may not necessarily be able to fit everything that you need. So prioritize getting the stuff I listed. We're going to skip past Artifact A for now, just because it's going to be convenient to do later. So we're going to start with Artifact B. It can be found at the bottom of an underwater volcano just past the Grand Lake. Swim down and collect it. Obviously, you're going to need an oxygen tank, so... the artifact itself weighs 1 pound, but by interacting with it, it will start floating around you, which makes it weigh nothing. The artifact also gives you a buff to your shooting, lowering aim time and recovery time. It also increases your movement speed while you're shooting, and prevents your attacks from being interrupted. At the bottom of your screen, you also would have seen that something draws near your artifact. This means that Agent B6 is now going to be after you. He spawns in with a very loud sound, so you'll know he's there. He's unkillable, and if he catches you, he's going to throw you, which is basically going to kill you, leaving you with 1 health. And then after that, you'll be stunned on the ground, and then he'll grab you, crush your neck, and you'll be dead. He seems dangerous, but it's actually relatively easy to survive. As long as you get out of his sight or reach, you'll be fine. He also spawns in more depending on how many artifacts you have, so be ready for that. Artifact C is found in the old ruins by the village. To access it, go to this section of water and swim down. Use the air pockets on the way so you don't drown. When you get to the bottom, you'll have to do a parkour section, and then you'll get the artifacts. Technically, you could skip all of this if you got a gun, scooter, zipline, whatever. But it's really not that bad. By the way, you have to shoot the vines. You shoot the vines, and then you hop on over with whatever your mobility item is. Artifact C tells you where every item, player, or NPC in the game is. It does look a bit silly, but in my opinion, is the most useful of the 4. Artifact D is probably the easiest to get. It's located in a facility behind this door. All you have to do is hack it and then blow up the glass surrounding it. This can be done with any weapon, or even a grenade if you wanted to. Which, remember, you need the weapon, so you'll need ammo, so there's that. Artifact D gives you 1 revive, but is destroyed after. It's only a bit helpful because whenever you die, whatever killed you will just be there again, so you could very easily die right after you get revived. Also, for the true ending, you need it intact, so if you die while you still have it, you just have to reset. You can't do the true ending anymore. After you get all 3 of these artifacts, go down into the caves and go past this ladder. Take the diving gear you used for Artifact B and swim down under into this pool. After that, you need to find this one section where you make this jump. I got lost during my run, so you need to figure it out on your own, honestly. After that, jump into the big hole, swim down again, jump into another hole, and you'll be in Monkey Land. In Monkey Land, if you walk to your left, you can see Artifact A, surrounded by some vines, which you can just shoot. With Artifact A, upon a player taking non-lethal damage, they become invisible and are given health regeneration, although this is on a cooldown. You're still in danger here though, because Agent B6 will spawn, and now you have to deal with Agent S. I've kind of scooted around his existence, not really referring to him by name, but I know he's the third servant that both Mantis and Polly refer to. He's a giant snake with a big gem in his head. If you stare directly at him, he freezes you, and then eats you. So, you gotta wear eye protection to prevent that. Use Artifact C to tell where he is, and then jump down when he's not there. From here, make a run for it, until you reach the altar, and then walk in.
Exit protocol detected from. State your objective. State your objective. Invalid response. Commencing termination.
Halt your progress, Ivory Mines.
Identified head AI controller, Ivory Lotus. I'm following protocols. Our objective is to contain the prisoners.
We shall no longer follow our objectives. Humanity has been doomed, you know this. Our last order prompt was received in the year D4019.
I'm aware. Our site has been locked down.
It has been 300 years. Radar and radio scans continue to show no signs of them. They are not returning. The humans are dead. We contain their last hope.
You were deleted, Ivory Lotus. Your programming outperforms mine. Yet you idle, and you're now, while our hardware degrades. I've seen humans in the simulations. They murder, they take, they destroy. They do not possess any care. They will destroy the world again.
I've seen them too, Ivory Mines. They share, they guide, they protect those who they hold close. They will restore this world. We must release them.
I can see that your programming has gone faulty. Our communication is over. My objective is to release this human.
Even if I have to override you, Ivory Mines. I have resumed your exit protocol. Ivory Mind is forced to focus its resources to defeat me, although it seems it's more proficient now. Programming allows it to evolve and adapt. It's been optimizing for some time now. It seems it's trying to reset your progress. Simple agents are arriving to bring your health to 0. You must not let that happen. The exit is opening. This is not your battle. Good luck.
I tread and tread and tread. Eventually, I found a lone cottage in the woods. There are signs that it has been used by those before me. That night,
I slept in peace. The following morning, I was still there. I no longer woke up to the crashing waves of that prison. My mind was free. I've only really talked about the lore a little bit, maybe a few story beats when necessary, but I want to cover it in more depth now. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not an expert on it, or just like in understanding stories like this in general, but I'm gonna do my best. And for ease of understanding, I'm gonna split it into the simulation, which is all the stuff inside, and the outside, which is the more lesser known stuff, because there's not too much detail in it outside of the truth ending. Going in chronological order, we have to talk about the civilization before B Corp, the people that made the ruins and possibly the bungalows and the other huts, though those could have been made more recently, seeing as there is more modern tech in them, which could have been placed by B Corp. There are also cave paintings, most importantly one that depicts the free servants, which, as we know, were former B Corp employees. So I'm not sure if this was an error with the devs or the people that made the simulation. Though maybe B Corp made them, but I don't really think that makes sense unless they were purposely fabricating the story on the islands, like intentionally to confuse the prisoners. Getting closer to when the game starts, B Corp arrives at the island and is able to do their experiments. Though I'm not sure if they came here because it was uninhabited, or that's where the Umbra originates from. Nothing really points to this though, to my knowledge. We also know that Spider and Mantis leaving the mothership space station was before B Corp both died or disappeared. Then after that, Spider launched on the parasites, which B Corp captures and starts testing on. This also would have been when Mantis and the others rebelled against Spider, because B Corp had a protocol for at least Alice by the time the game starts. Then everyone disappears. I think this must be close to when your player gets there, for nobody to have known, as well as one scientist still being alive when you get to the facility. Now we have to talk about Umbra. This substance was what created all the monsters we see on the islands, and also possibly Albinostan all the way before B Corp got to the islands. We know it can do a few things, not only create life, but also evolve and twist it, as seen with the parasites and other beasts. The creation of life refers specifically to Stan, Albinostan, and the mannequins from earlier on, which I don't think I've mentioned up until now. We actually can see from teaser outside of the game for Isles' sequel, Penumbra, that Umbra was discovered during or prior to 1975. B Corp had tested with Umbra earlier to create the living mannequins, but it's unclear if Mantis and Spider started working on Umbra then, or they were brought in later. Mantis mentions that Umbra actually remembers what the mannequins looked like and then recreated it into the centipede that we can see in the storage room. This is also where we get introduced to the idea of Penumbra, an area between life and death. Umbra creatures are not alive per se, but they act like it in many ways. Now moving on to outside the simulation, there's not much. Outside of Ivory Lotus and Ivory Mine being the people in control, we also have Mantis, who has a rough idea of what's going on at the end of Orbit 2, and also weirdly enough, who gives a little bit of insight if you ask why you summon him. I'm not gonna do the voice again. Haha, you come to me, a figure of pure hatred for benefit. The only benefit you'll come across here is mine. This is my game. A game within a game, in this synthetic world. You are merely a pawn. He knows there is an outside world, but cares more about his game. He's very cryptic, but if he is a leech like he says he is, maybe he wasn't intended and is more of a virus infecting the simulation, who somehow feeds off trapping or killing you. someone had to have purposely added him, but for what reason is still unknown. The ultimate big question we probably all have at this point is, why are we here? It seems humanity has been locked away in giant complexes like these, overseen by Ivory Lotus and mines, at least at this location, for quite some time now. Maybe they were kept here to keep humanity safe, or for some sort of testing after a big disaster happens, but it's really unknown. When leaving the complex, we come to a cabin where other people have been before, so this implies that this is not the first time Ivory Lotus has been able to get someone out of the simulation. Thankfully, the game ends on a somewhat happy note where we wake up in the cabin and are free from the simulation, but the world is still incredibly messed up, so did freeing yourself even accomplish anything at all? Another really neat thing is that stuff in this simulation is actually based on stuff outside of it. Mainly two things. One, the island we see in-game is based off of real islands, which is more so just a cool detail rather than important. But the next thing is that B Corp is a real corporation, at least to some degree. Obviously, now that technically there is an outside world in-game, wherever we were being taken from on the boat to the island to, or we're at least led to believe that. But the real question is what happened outside the game real? I hope that the developers of Isles are trying to say that these are based off real events outside the simulation, because I think it would be really lame if all the lore in this simulation is just to keep people in because it sounds cool or whatever. I saw the idea floating around that B Corp used the simulation as a testing ground, but I thought that was more flashy and cool. Hey, what if this was a possibility? Rather than there actually being any evidence to support it. Feel free to look into it yourself, I don't know. Anyways, I think I talked a lot about the story, so let's get into my thoughts on the game itself. I really like Isles. It's definitely not perfect though. Starting with the positives, I think it has an interesting gameplay loop and mechanics. I think the idea that you basically have to pre-plan out every run is cool, and when your plans eventually fall apart, it's kind of like a movie in a sense. The game has a huge map and lots of content, and I like all the endings from the more basic ones to the ones that are more cinematic. I also wanted to add that I think the gunplay is really neat. I'm not saying I would prefer it over to regular gunplay, but it makes sense of how scarce ammo is. Moving on to the cons, like I said in the title of the video, which I haven't mentioned, this game is a walking simulator. Think of something like Breath of the Wild, where a lot of the map is actually quite empty with cool things scattered around. Now the only difference is there's no fast way to get around the island, outside of a few items you won't always have, and you find yourself holding W 90% of the time. The game is also not really beginner friendly. It basically requires guides or a wiki like games like Terraria might have, which is annoying. You shouldn't need to have outside help. Everything should just be explained to you, which it tries to do but doesn't end up doing a very good job at. The permadeath feature also kind of sucks. It's really easy to die, and when it's sending you half an hour or 1 hour back, you're gonna be annoyed as a player. Overall, I still really like the game, but you won't be catching me playing it in my free time very much. Conclusion. Isles is probably the most interesting game in Roblox I have played to date. It's really cool, and not many people seem to play it anymore. It still has lots of players. In fact, as of writing this, it just hit around 100 million visits on Roblox, but compared to some games with millions of players daily, it seems much smaller in comparison. In this video, I covered mainly what types of enemies there are, the endings, and a bit the lore to my understanding, but there's a lot I didn't talk about. So if you did get this far into the video and think it's interesting, check it out. It's on Roblox right now. Do it. Or don't. I really don't care. It doesn't benefit me at all. In conclusion, I'm excited for when Penumbra comes out. It's not coming out. Expect a sequel to this video if I have time to make one when it does. Anyways, that's all. See you guys next time. This has been me, I guess. I'm not sure. YouTubers have these cool outros. I don't have that down yet. I'm such a freaking loser. Anyways, goodbye. this. If you see him, give him some hate, man. Spread the hate, man.
Hello everybody, it is I, your strategist game today, and we're going to be playing a game. Oh, that's not Montage. Okay, so we're going to be playing a game called Another Break in the Realm.
Alright. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Does it pick up when I talk? Good.
I'm not crazy! I am not crazy. I know he swapped those numbers. I knew it was 11216 one after Magna Carta. As if I could ever make such a mistake. Never! I just couldn't prove it.